Hello, welcome to Himdeve development, where we are preparing the best tutorials to make your mobile application development easier and more efficient. Our goal for this tutorial is to add navigation buttons, go back and forward in your browsing history, and refresh button to reload the page. In addition, we will learn how to communicate directly with the JavaScript page loaded in Webview, how to write and call JavaScript for Webview from Flutter. Let's start with a preview of the app from the previous tutorial. This is the progress we have made so far, and this will be the entry point for this tutorial. You can find the source code on our website at himdeve.com. First, we open our existing application from the previous tutorial and we open the file shop_page.dart. We want to add 3 buttons to the top bar of our existing application: to go back in the browsing history, refresh button, and to go forward in the browsing history. So let's move on to the code section, where we create the scaffold widget, especially its top bar, up bar. We will add here a new attribute actions and set its value to navigation controls widget. Since everything in Flutter is a widget, we can create navigation buttons in the new navigation controls class. And we insert the instance of this class as the value of the actions attribute. The parameter of this class will be the future object of the Webview controller. Then, in our project structure, under the presentation layer, we create the components folder and in it a new file navigation_controls.dart. We open the newly created file, and we will create the navigation controls class, which will extend stateless widget. The constructor of this class will have the future object of the Webview controller as an argument. Subsequently, in the build method of the stateless widget, we will create the future builder widget as in the previous tutorial, where future will be our input parameter for this class. Future generates info about whether the Webview controller is valid. Consequently, if the Webview controller is valid, that is, controller.hasData is true, we will return the row widget in the build method. The row widget is a Flutter component that displays its children, means other widgets in this widget hierarchy, in a horizontal box. What's good to realize is that the row widget is not scrollable. Even having more widget descendants in a row widget than the available space for this widget is generally considered as an error. In that case, it would be a good idea to use the Flutter listview widget and set the scroll direction horizontally using the listview attribute scroll direction with a value axis.horizontal. Our row widget will have 3 additional widgets in its widget hierarchy that will represent the 3 navigation buttons mentioned in the first goal of this tutorial. Let's start with the refresh button. We will create an icon button widget, which is a refresh icon for the button, as well as onPress attribute representing a callback method to reload the page in Webview using the Webview controller method controller.data.reload. Next button in our navigation field will be to go back in the browsing history. For that, we create a flat button widget consists of an icon representing the back arrow and the text with the title back. Therefore, we add the horizontal row widget to the child attribute of this button to insert the icon and text. In onPress method of this button, it means on the interaction of clicking to this button, we will ask Webview controller if it has data to go backward on its browsing history, with controller.data.canGoBack method. And if it does, we call the Webview controller method controller.data.goBack. If it doesn't, we'll display a snack bar with the information that there is no backward browsing history. Note again that the Webview controller's method controller.data.canGoBack needs to be awaited. It means it needs to wait until the future value returned by this call is resolved. We set the text color for this button to white. And the last third button will be to go forward in the browsing history. This button looks almost the same as the method representing going backwards in history. Just the text and icon of the button as well as the info about that there is no forward browsing history will change. And also the Webview controller's methods can go forward and go forward are used. We'll do a very simple refactoring. Here it is good to say that this code could be refactored much better, but that is not the purpose of this tutorial. Also, if you want to go through this tutorial at your own pace, you can find a detailed description at himdeve.com for this tutorial. So now we have three methods to create three buttons: underscore build back history button, underscore build refresh button, and underscore build forward history button. Then we return to the shop underscore page.dart file to import the navigation controls class. And we can test the functionality. When we click on the back button, we get a snack bar with a message that we have no browsing history yet. Same with the next button. However, after clicking on the About subpage item, we can use the back button to go back to the main page in our browsing history. And we will also test the refresh button. And let us now go to a component called navigation delegate. In the underscore shop page state class, in the underscore build webview method for the webview widget, we set the navigation delegate attribute, which returns a callback method representing the navigation request of web page change in WebView. To make this request, we will create an underscore build navigation decision function that represents an example how you can manage a web page change request directly in Flutter. In our case, we will give an example when a user clicks on My Account subpage in our store, where we disable this request in Flutter, and we will display a snack bar informing that the user does not have the rights to view this subpage. What is interesting to note here is that to show a snack bar cannot be done classically via scaffold.offContext.showSnackBar, which would find the nearest ancestor of scaffold in this widget hierarchy, because we would get an exception that scaffold.off was called with a context that doesn't contain scaffold, and that is because we would try to use the context of widget that created the instance of scaffold, not its child. Scaffold.offContext only works if we have a context of widget child in this widget hierarchy under the scaffold. Therefore, we will use a different approach by defining the global key for scaffold. And then we can use the global key.currentState.showSnackBar command to display the desired snack bar. We'll test the functionality, we launch the application. And we can see that if we click on the contact item in the menu, the page will load correctly. However, if you click on My Account item in the menu, the user will see a message saying that he doesn't have permission to view this page. Next, let's start communicating with JavaScript. To illustrate how communication between a JavaScript page loaded in Webview and Flutter works, we define another onPageFinish attribute in the Webview widget. It is again a Webview callback method that is called when the page is fully loaded in Webview. And our goal will then be to rewrite the title bar at the top of our application based on the title of the page we just loaded. This information can be found using the JavaScript command document.title. So our task is to call this JavaScript command using the code in Flutter and then respond to its result of the name of the current display page in Flutter and use it for the top bar of our screen. We create the _showPageTitle method, which will be called when the page is fully loaded in Webview. Here, we call the WebviewController.evaluateJavaScript method to evaluate the JavaScript expression, in our case document.title. And in order to process this result, that is, the page title in Flutter, we must use a class from the Webview package called JavaScript channel. However, before we jump into JavaScript channel, let's first look at how we even got the Webview controller in the _showPageTitle method. We use the method of the future object then. First, we have to evaluate our Webview controller encapsulated into completer to get the Webview controller value directly. So far, we have done this with Future Builder. However, in this case, this is unnecessary as we are not building other UI widgets in this method. So we can use another way to get the Webview controller value by using the then method, which is the callback of the future object, and it is called when the future of this object is evaluated. Okay, let's go to our JavaScript channel. To send info about the page's title obtained by JavaScript evaluated directly on the current page in Webview, we use JavaScript channel. For JavaScript communication, JavaScript channel is used as a communication channel that sends messages using the JavaScript channel.poseMessage method, and these messages are then received by the callback method of JavaScript channel onMessageReceived. So we create a method to create JavaScript channel and call it _create_topbar.js channel. The JavaScript channel class has two attributes, name and onMessageReceived. We set the name attribute to topbar.js channel, and this attribute represents the JavaScript channel's name, which we then use to send messages to the evaluate JavaScript Webview controller method. The onMessageReceived attribute thus represents the callback method of JavaScript channel, which returns a message sent from JavaScript. The text value of this JavaScript message is called by the command message.message. In our case, we want to put this name in the up bar of our scaffold widget. To do this, we call the setState method to recall the build method and set the underscore title variable to the new title obtained from the JavaScript command document.title. We'll still edit this name according to our specific example, where document.title returns a very long name, and all we need to do is to substring it with a dash. Then we insert the newly created JavaScript channel into the Webview attribute of JavaScript channels. And we can test our application. We can see that our title has already been changed to home based on the title value of the attribute obtained from the JavaScript of the loaded page, and every additional subpage will have its title in this top bar of the app. And with this is our third part of this first series of Flutter tutorials completed, and of course you can find the complete source code on the GitHub as well as on our website himdeve.com, where you have a detailed description of everything we went through in this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, bye bye.